Welcome back to FUTV, everybody. We are live and, of course, bringing you all the up-to-date Manchester United news on this match weekend, Saturday the 2nd of November. Very, very important. It's the first Premier League weekend without Erik ten Hag. Big changes. Ruben Amorim has opened up about what happened with contact with Manchester United. We're going all the way back to the summer and the details of what Manchester United's pursuit of Amorim was all about. What they gave him. Was it an ultimatum? We've got loads of quotes to get through from Amorim's press conference last night after Sporting's victory again. We'll talk about some of the players that he might want to bring in that are not coming in January from Ruben Amorim. We've got loads to talk about and a little bit of a look ahead to what's going on this weekend as well. Welcome along to the channel, everybody. Make sure that you do give that video a like and please do hit that subscribe button if you're loving Manchester United and what's going on right now. Of course, we're all on a little bit of a high. We're all sort of upbeat and excited about what's to come at Manchester United, but we have to go through the details of what happened with Ruben Amorim first before we get into what we can actually expect going forward. By the way, we did do a lot of this last night on the special with Alice. Thank you for all of your comments and all of your likes on that video. We got great feedback off that one and we will be doing it again in the future. We're going to work off both channels, so really appreciate all of the support from that video last night. So if you haven't watched it already after this live stream, obviously go over and watch that. At the end of this show, I'll put a link up to that one right at the end when we're finished with the live section. If you're catching up later, that is, and you're watching a little bit later on in the morning, because you might be having a lie-in, preparing yourself for what's to come this weekend. You might need the rest, the calm before the storm. Chelsea tomorrow, and a big, big day for Ruud van Nistelrooy. But we all know, now looking ahead to the set dates, which is the 11th of October, Ruben Amorim is in at Manchester United. I'm going to go right through the quotes from that press conference last night, first of all, because it was an eye-opener. It really was. He laid it all out, Ruben Amorim. It was a very emotional night for him in front of the home support. You could see the embrace with Nani. You could see how the directors were all piling in. The chairman coming speaking at the press conference as well. It was a massive event. His players didn't let him down. And that just shows you alone, doesn't it? Like, these players play for this manager. Even with everything that's going on right now, there's no, oh God, where's this going to go? Let's down tools attitude or anything like that. It's just all systems go. They just believe in the man. And it was impressive, wasn't it? Yes, opposition, not great. But still, with everything going on, that's 2 wins with these players knowing that he is no longer their manager in a row. Let's see what happens on Tuesday as well. By the way, we are doing a watch along on Big Up. Link in the description for that Sporting against City game on Tuesday night. Make sure you tuned in for that one. Amorim watch is right there. Right, press conference last night. Amorim sat down, the chairman spoke. It was, like I said, emotional. It was intense, to be honest, and he was just completely open with everything that's happened. Let's get through the quotes and then we'll dissect them between each other within the live chat. Within the live chat. I don't know what I said then before chat, but it was something funny. But yeah, get your comments in the live chat and let's get through all of these quotes that came out from this press conference last night. Amorim speaking says, It's been a special week. 2 press releases, each time on a match day. But the clubs are now listed companies and they have to present all these elements. That's how it is. There are things you can't control. I'm in work mode. As in, basically just saying, look, we had to announce it because they're listed companies, i.e. United announced it yesterday because of the stock exchange and employment, or significant employment as such, like here's a new manager or head coach at the football club needs to be announced, and there is nothing they can do. The clauses within the contract that Ruben Amorim has spoken about and what the clubs have spoken about over the last few days are that he has now triggered that release clause. United have paid the money and it has to be announced. He would have liked it to have been kept under the radar, but I think we all know with United anyway, it was never going to happen that, but officially it has to come out like this anyway, and the clauses are such that he has to play these last 4 games even, manage them for Sporting. Amorim also speaking, saying that it was the best time of my life at Sporting, but I have to make my decision, and I make them naturally. I understand the fans' pain, but time heals everything. They will get over it, basically. Of course they will. They have to move on, and I think they already have done in selecting that B team coach as their new replacement for Ruben Amorim. My only request when United paid the clause was that the departure would happen at the end of the season, and I was told that it was not possible. It was now or never. I had 3 days to decide on something that was going to completely change my life. That was the most important one and the biggest quote from what came out last night. We're going to read on to more details in a minute, but I want to just stop it there and get a few opinions on this, because last night he said that the clause was there, and he goes all the way back. If you listen to what he says, he goes back to the summer, and he told the powers that be at Sporting that he wanted to leave in the summer. He wanted to leave. This was his last season, and no matter what happened in the season, he wanted to go. He then goes on to say that he only wanted Manchester United. It was the only club that he wanted to go to. There are other offers out there that he would earn even more money from, as you'll see in a minute when the quotes go on, when we speak about them. But he wanted to go to Manchester United. That was the only club that he wanted, and he wanted it to happen next summer. He wanted to see out this season with Sporting, but the situation came about where United desperately wanted a manager in at this moment. They had to react. They had to work on getting the deal done, and this is where the crazy 2 weeks have come from. Interesting thing on this is as well that obviously we now know why Erik ten Hag was still the manager for so long. Manchester United approached Ruben Amorim with more intent than anybody else. Like Sky were reporting yesterday, yes, United sounded out and had open talks with other managers. We know this, but there was only one man that they laid an offer out to, and that was Ruben Amorim, and that was in the summer as well. So he didn't want to go. He made it very clear that he wanted to see out a season with Sporting. United had just won the FA Cup, and we're probably thinking, do you know what? Let's just see what happens with Ten Hag. It can't get any worse, surely can it? And we'll bring Ruben Amorim in the summer. I don't even think United would have had to have paid the release clause. There was a release that he could leave in this summer. There was something written that I've spoken about before when talking about Amorim, but still, conversations was there. Everything was in place in the summer. Ruben knew what he was doing. He knew that there was going to be an opportunity with United come the summer, and Sporting knew that this was his last season. United fell off a cliff, as we know. Erik ten Hag buried Manchester United. They had to act. The manager was sacked, and United moved quickly. Amorim wanted to keep to his end of the season move after everything was done with Sporting. United said, no, it's now or never. Like that quote says there, I had 3 days to make a decision on something that was going to completely change my life. But the best thing out of all of that I have to take as a Manchester United fan is that he only wanted Manchester United. This was the only job. I'm just going to read on quickly a few more, actually. A club like United came forward, and I knew that if I refused it, it would no longer be possible to go there. No longer possible to go there in 6 months. So some of the quotes are in brackets as well. It threw me out there. And I knew that in 6 months, I would no longer be at Sporting. So basically what he's saying there is he's already said he's leaving Sporting in 6 months. So he'd have no job at Sporting. And in 6 months, United would have employed another manager. The job offer was off the table. So he had to react to Manchester United coming in the last few weeks and saying, look, this is a once-in-a-lifetime offer. Well, once-in-a-lifetime, you could say that, couldn't you? But this is now or never sale. Now or never offer. And United wanted Amorim in situ sooner than what we actually are getting him on the 11th of November. They wanted him in now for Chelsea. But obviously the contract situation and the clause and the stipulations within that contract, what we've already spoken about, were in place and we couldn't get him. We knew all of that yesterday, but the interesting thing in what we're saying now is that he had a very, very tough decision. And you can say he had 3 days to make a decision. And this is probably all, like building up to that game in that League Cup game the other week. Early on in the week. And you can just feel the pressure that was on Ruben Amorim. That would have been intense. That would have been massive for Ruben Amorim there. And you could see, like, when we were talking about that press conference when he first had it, when he was joking around with the Sky Sports presenter, when he was joking around talking about, I don't know. And you could see it was obviously on his mind and playing. That big decision has been made. And he didn't know how to talk about it. So professionally just sidestepped the awkward questions and tried to focus on what was at hand. But he's made his decision. He made it off the back of United demanding that not so much demanding, like it was a take it or leave it offer sort of as such. Like, look, United had to look after their best interests. They had to move quick. No manager till the end of the season could have been detrimental to where they wanted to finish. And now Amorim has accepted that. You have to look at that as a massive positive for me. That, look, he only wanted to come to United in the first place. He didn't want to come right now, but he knows and understands the situation United are in. He's had to take that offer. Some might say that that's a bit more pressure than what's needed now, because United are expecting things to happen this season. And really, with a take it or leave it offer, it's now put a little bit more tension to the situation with Amorim and getting the results straight away. But I still look at it as a more positive thing, that he knew that United wanted him in the summer. They've come in a different situation and asked him, look, do you want to take this job now? It's open for you now to come in. Otherwise, it's not going to be there for you in the summer. Things happen in seasons, and you have to make something happen. Can you believe that the old regime at Manchester United would have managed to make this happen with Amorim right now? I don't. I really don't. I had no confidence at all in the old regime, and we would have been flapping around trying to find out who wanted to take the job. It took us months to try and find managers or talk to managers. United had a plan from the summer, and I think this has all come out now that Ruben Amorim was the main man in the summer. We couldn't get him, so we had to persist with Erik ten Hag until this point, until it was completely untenable. And that is where we're at right now. I'm going to come to the chats and find out where you are at, where you are all at with this. Get your comments in. How do you feel about this take it or leave it offer? Is this good from the club? Is it good that Amorim has accepted this at this point? Please do get your comments in on this now. We have a gifted membership which has gone to Farouk. That was gifted by London. Thank you, buddy. Right, let's get into some of these comments. Let's see. I'm so excited about Amorim Ball, says Nick. Me too, Nick. Did we get his coaches as well? Haven't seen it mentioned yet. I'm coming to that, Rudresh. He did. That was one of the clauses in his side. The stipulation was that he would only come to Manchester United if his coaches that have been with him through his whole coaching career, so all 3 clubs that he's managed in Portugal, them coaches have been with him from day one. So that is definitely happening and was one of the clauses that he put in from his side. It only happens now if he has his own people with him, so they are coming in definitely. Then, like I said yesterday, we will move on to the Van Nistelrooy situation later on down the line. And discussions will happen probably on the 11th, 12th when he's actually inside Manchester United. I hope Amorim has more courage and stick to his style of play. Erik ten Hag just didn't, and the balls to stick. Sorry, he didn't, and the balls to stick to his style as reverted to pragmatism. As in, ten Hag didn't have the courage of his convictions to stick to the so-called style of play. He went back to parking the bus. I get it. I do get it. Let's see what else we've got in here. As long as Amorim sticks to his principles and not abandon his own style, I am good. There's a lot of people picking up on this, actually, in the chat I've noticed. As in, look, we're not going to be convinced unless he just has that courage to carry on playing the way he wants to play. He doesn't get put off by certain things happening within the club, within the season. Obviously, I think every manager coming into Manchester United is, look, for Erik ten Hag's sake, in the Eredivisie, everything worked. So you are more than convinced that you are the right man to take it forward. You are more than convinced that your methods are proven and they win. And that's what Erik ten Hag came in with. Ruben Amorim is going to come in with exactly the same. He is coming in on an absolute high. The last 2 managers now have both come in absolutely smashing it in their previous jobs. Trophy after trophy after trophy. Title winning trophies as well in their native countries. And coming into Manchester United would believe that their methods would then take over and carry on moving up. It didn't happen with Ten Hag, and I think he then chopped and changed and panicked a little bit and tried to figure out another way. He has to stick to it. And I agree with everyone in the chat who's saying this. He needs to make sure that he is 100% convinced that his methods are going to take Manchester United forward, and he does need to stick to them. I think that's what will convince the majority of the fan base that Amorim is definitely the man that is going to change things. Added to that, and I said this on numerous videos coming up this week, the difference this time is that Amorim has been employed by Ineos. They want that style of play. They will back that style of play. The only way that they back that style of play is by binning off the players that cannot handle that style of play. That is the only way this works. I think every single Manchester United fan knows this. In conversation, you don't even have to go in as much detail as I just did then, in terms of them not fitting the style of play, and then they have to go. Fans are actually saying this without even thinking about it. Fans are saying this like, look at Marcus Rashford, look at Luke Shaw, look at Maguire, look at how many managers these guys have just binned off because they've underperformed for years. Yes, it falls into the same category. We're not just singling out them players, but they are the obvious players that you would bring up on this. But it all comes down to them not being adaptable to how that particular manager at the time wanted to play at Manchester United. So really, with Amorim coming in, I think Ineos need to make it clear, and I think that's why the structure, why I was talking the other day about Jason Wilcox and watching and checking on the attitudes of players and how things are going, and constantly having people on site scrutinising, watching, judging everything that's going on. The structure brings this. Staff everywhere in places that need to be there and not in places that we don't really need them. It is football focused, and everything is all about getting the best results. Like I said yesterday, on the training ground, people watching the different facilities, the different coaches, the different people above the manager to help the manager. Everything just needs to be geared towards these players knowing that this is on them now. There's a man that's proven with a system, and if you don't fall into that system, then you are out of the football club. It's as simple as that. It needs to be a conveyor belt. In, out, until you get to where you need to go. There are players that will believe in it. There are some that probably won't. And there'll be some that probably see their arse again. But they're the ones that Ineos need to step in with and flirt them out of the football club. Back the manager and give him everything. They gave everything to Ten Hag at the start of the season. They didn't want him. He didn't have the right style of play. And that's true. The first 2 seasons Ten Hag was in, we hardly scored any goals. We were scraping by in victories. We were just basically running on adrenaline at certain moments in games, and it got us to a certain point, but not sustainable, and we know this. Ineos wanted Amorim in. It's what's been said in this press conference and leaked out. Not leaked out, but obviously it's now out in the open. And Amorim is their manager. That's the difference this time. If he doesn't stick to his philosophy and his style of play, then I will start to get worried. That's the one time I will start to have a little bit of a panic. I'll be like, why? Why is this happening again? Like, why are these players getting away with this? Well, not so much getting away, because I do believe a lot of the players are trying, but why has the philosophy and the style disappeared again? Why are we reverting back to going long and playing counter-attacking football? It's always going to be a fear of Manchester United fans that the manager loses his way again. It starts off great, everything looks like everyone's interested in it, and then for some reason it just falls away. We will see if a football structure does its job in backing that system. I think that's what we have to look at. I like Ruben's press conferences. He can clearly see the energy and character. You can clearly see the energy and the character out there, 100%. Morning to you as well. You got Roz. Morgan says the Ineos management team now need to step up and become actively involved in managing the commitment, performance, mentality and attitude of the players and break player power. Exactly what I just said there. Brilliant comment from Morgan. 100%. P1DLX says the hierarchy need to back him and allow him to play the formation that has worked for him so far. I believe Erik ten Hag was forced to play certain players when they needed benching. That was that whole conspiracy theory, and that could have some legs within that. Let's get into more, because there's a lot more to get through when it comes to Amorim quotes. Amorim spoke on whether he has spoken to Manchester United players yet. So moving forward now with the conversation, and the obvious answer with that was, I haven't spoken to anyone. I'm totally focused on the last few games with Sporting. Yeah, exactly what was expected to be said there. Why would he have spoken to Man United players? He's still got 2 massive games left for Sporting. He's through the first 2. He's just counting these games down right now. But I tell you what, if you watch the game, and I only seen clips of the game last night, I didn't watch it in full. But if you watch the game and the goals, Gyökeres is getting loads and loads and loads of praise. And I think even Amorim himself said, look, in terms of sporting players, will I bring any sporting players? This question was asked as well. Again, it was just like an open season press conference. Ask him whatever you want. There was zero protection from awkward questions again from Sporting. And it was just completely open. You will not get this at Manchester United. Trust me. They are well protected managers at Manchester United. Not like this scenario. So yeah, he's just won 2 games in a row. He's having a fantastic season. I think it's 15 games, 14 wins. For God's sake, like, give the man a little bit of a break in a press conference. No. Income questions like that. He has also said that he will definitely not be taking any sporting players in January. Interesting how he says January. Thank you, Amorim, for saying that, because there are players there that I would definitely take from Sporting. They may cost a lot of money. I don't know if we've got enough money, but like I said before, if these players at Manchester United right now do not perform in this next 6 months or so in the rest of this season, Amorim can be that man that tells Ineos, and this is Ineos' man now. So if he is agreeing to this so-called non-veto transfer and everything like that, he's agreeing to coming in earlier than what he wanted to. He is clearly on board with the Ineos system. He knows how they want to work, and he's happy to operate within their rules. And I feel like he is now part of their team. He's a head coach and he's another member of their staff. If he says to them that this player is a massive issue, then like the comments have just said, then it's down to Ineos then to back this man, back this coach, and actually move that player out. Like, if you're going to change everything, the only way you're going to change anything and convince the fans this is the message to Ineos is by giving Amorim the tools to take United forward. Ten Hag didn't have the style of play. Amorim does, but you have to back him by getting rid of the players. Look, in the summer, they've shown that they're willing to move players on that Ten Hag didn't like. So we can't say that he didn't get given the chance. You look at Martial, you look at Sancho, all these players that were moved on from Manchester United, 17 of them. 17 players. And you know the structure's working because Ten Hag wanted to keep McTominay. Some would say that would be a right decision, to be honest, looking at how he's playing in Napoli now. But still, Ineos worked with Ten Hag in the summer, and they told him the structure was there. We need a holding midfielder. This is what we recommend in Manuel Ugarte. And McTominay had to be let go because he was a player that was in a position we have an abundance of talent in. And if you're going to bring in someone like Joshua Zirkzee as well, then you do need to make room for that player. And Scott McTominay was the one that was taken out. Sensible decision because of the money that was made, and it funded what Manchester United needed to do in the summer. So the structure works, and the structure was working for Erik Ten Hag. The problem Ten Hag has got is the lunacy in what he was doing on the pitch and how he was operating this season is just beyond anything that anyone could comprehend. Stick to... Oh, I'm not even going to say it. I'm not going to say stick to the plan. I just did, but hey. Stick to the philosophy that Ruben Amorim has got him to where he is now and why you want him. Otherwise, what's the point? What is the point of bringing him in? You have to allow him to do his thing. You have to allow him to work how he wants to work. And that is important. He's not bringing any players in January. That may mean that we bring players in the summer. Gyökeres, looking at that. There's plenty of other players. Like some will say, are we going to go back in for Inacio, another centre-back? There is so many, like Hjulmand is another holding midfielder. If Casemiro leaves, could we go for him? He's the captain of Sporting right now. There is so much that Manchester United can tap into there, but that is for the summer. And obviously, he didn't want to answer questions on that. Here's the bit about his staff as well. I'm taking my staff to United, but we'll have time to talk about it. That's always been one of the conditions. We've been together since Casapia. So in terms of taking his staff, it was always going to happen. He wouldn't go otherwise, like I just said. How to get Manchester United back on track. On the 11th, we will have the opportunity to talk about Manchester United. For now, I am at Sporting. Answered exactly how you'd expect, of course. Again, there's another quote on him not taking any players in January. Ruben Amorim, when he's talking about Manchester United, he says, look, it was an extraordinarily attractive challenge that I could not refuse. He is now in charge of taking Manchester United back to the top. He is the man that is going to do it. And that is a lot to actually take on your shoulders. There's a lot of pressure on this manager right now. And I think he does, like we've just said there, need the support of Ineos more than any other manager right now, because of everything that's gone on. The mismanagement, the misprofile of players from previous manager like Ten Hag, how Ten Hag was treated in some fans' eyes as well, and how it should have been sorted in the summer, which is all right, and a good argument on its own. Everything now, and the way this has happened so quickly, and now they've had to drag him out of Sporting. He needs to be given time, the tools, and the commitment from the board. And everyone at that football structure within Ineos needs to be 100% behind this man. Otherwise, it will fail again. And we'll be sat here talking about what next. This is a massive moment for Manchester United. A huge moment. The biggest, in fact, in the last 2 decades, I would say. The new ownership, the structure, everything has changed. If Amorim, who is the best manager out there, and you have to say, yeah, he's not proven. It's crap leagues. It's not the Premier League. City would have had him. Liverpool wanted him. Another massive club in Europe was going to take Amorim before United. He's the right man. If it doesn't work with Amorim, where do we go from here? It has to work with Amorim. And Ineos need to make it work with him. They've made the statement. They have made the big, bold statement about the style of football, when we're going to win the Premier League. They've got rid of Ten Hag. They've acted as they should. They're bringing this man in now, bringing his staff in. They've made the big deal out of it. If it doesn't work this time, I honestly do not know where we go from here. Everything is set up to work for Amorim, I feel. We talked about the academy coming through and what he can tap into there. We've talked about his wanting to come to Manchester United, the desire that this was the only club that he wanted to go to. Everything is set up. The players, I think, are good enough to get top 4. Not challenge. Nowhere near challenge a title charge. We are good enough. If Maresca can do it with that Chelsea squad, then Manchester United can do it with this Manchester United squad. If Unai Emery can do it with Aston Villa, United can do it with Manchester United. Amorim can do it with Man United. It's there. It's proven. We can get back up that table. I've got a special preview video coming out a bit later on this morning as well, just before lunchtime as well. Make sure you tune in for that, everybody. Breaking that exact pathway down of what happens and where United get back into this top 4, starting with Chelsea this weekend. So do tune into that later on as well. I'm going to get back into the comment section. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning. We have about 1,200 in the room. Please make sure you have subscribed as well, and do give the video a like. We're keeping up to 200 likes. Thank you so much, everyone. This is your moment of the show now. We're going to get into detail here on the comment section. Super chat in from Rifa says, we do not need Gyökeres. Okay, we don't. He was a championship player. Amorim can transform Højlund. He's better and would also own the Premier Liga in Portugal. Morten Hjulmand would be interesting, no. You know what? Gyökeres is another striker. Man United are going to need another striker. It doesn't matter if you think Højlund is better or is good enough. I agree. I think Amorim will make Højlund a better player. Totally agree. But the system he plays could change. Yes, Rashford needs to come into this. Like we was talking with Alice last night, and she nailed it when she said that Rashford could play as the shadow striker. It's not so much a 3-4-3 flat across 3. It's one just in behind or just to the side. The forwards play narrow in Amorim's side, and they're very direct. You've got pace and power there in Rashford and Højlund. I think that and them two players are key, absolutely key for his system to work. So I expect Højlund to improve, but United will need another striker. They do need more cover, and we have to go back into the market for another forward. Whether or not we will have enough money after what other parts of the team we've invested in, because that needs to come first, like the defence and midfield, is another question. We will see. Obi Martin coming through, could he be the one that breaks onto the scene? Do we need Gyökeres? He looks good. He's at Sporting. We just took their manager, so he's hot topic at the moment. I'm just going to bench the Gyökeres talk for now. There's no need to even get into it. Nothing's going to happen until the summer anyway. But yeah, very interesting. And I do get the point on that super chat. It does stand. I'd like more a dependable striker in here until the kids can come through and be 100% ready. I like Højlund, but he has had a lot of growing to do. He's got a lot of growing to do still. We need goals now. Goals now is not going to be Gyökeres. No Sporting player is coming in. Who gets the goals right now? Does the system provide goals? Can Amorim put that confidence back into our forwards to score goals? That's the question. Can he work with the tools that he has got right now? That's what we discussed last night with Alice as well. Like, what players are going to thrive? We were struggling to find spot for Bruno Fernandes in this side with Amorim, but he does like to change it up a little bit as well. It's an adaptable formation and a system that he plays. So, going to be really interesting. And I really cannot wait for him to start talking about United. Like I said yesterday, he's still at Sporting and he's not going to be brought up on any conversation about Manchester United yet. He's going to be dealing with what's at hand, which is 2 more games for Sporting. So, when the 11th, when he does come in, I can't wait for that to actually come around now. I'm really looking forward to him to talking about Manchester United, how he sees it. They tried to push him in the press conference last night about how he changes United. He's just not going to be drawing on it, and I think that's right. More comments. Michael says, let's hope these players will tote the line and not revert to type after the manager bounce is up. Well, I'm actually worried about Chelsea still. Even Van Nistelrooy and this bounce that we're having, our so-called bounce now, I don't think there is one. I think it's still these players in the sort of unknown sort of environment right now, and I think that's what we've seen against Leicester. It was a bit choppy, the game against Leicester. It really was. And I go into detail on the preview show, not to big that up again, but I do talk about it quite a bit and how Manchester United, I hope, will set up against Chelsea tomorrow. So again, that's coming out around about 11 o'clock today, so make sure you tune into that one, everyone. Do you think he got the offers from Liverpool and West Ham but declined them, or did the clubs said no? I mean, West Ham, apparently Sullivan didn't want to pay the release clause anyway, so it was irrelevant. He wouldn't go near it, so that's going to be an interesting one if that is true. I don't see it. From what Amorim is saying, he only ever wanted to speak to United, and he did talk to the other clubs just to see. Obviously he would. You'd see what was out there, wouldn't you? You'd look at every single offer that was out there. It's a big decision for him to move from Sporting to the Premier League. It does look like everything was geared towards the Premier League because all we're hearing about is City, Liverpool, West Ham. Obviously, United have come in and got him now, thankfully for us. But 4 Premier League teams are looking at Amorim. And I think he did own up to making a mistake to talking to West Ham. That was quite funny. He apologised to the Sporting fans. It was bad judgment on his part. But still, the other offers were there. So, yeah, United have done well. And I think the one saving grace in other clubs coming in for him was this was going to be his last season at Sporting. He wanted one more season. And it goes to show the intent that United had in getting him and what they've had to do to go. But the fact that Ruben himself said he wanted one more season and then he's going to leave, I think that helped us out in him not going anywhere else in the summer as well. Super chat in from Richard. Thank you, Richard. Tactics are one thing, but personality and management is what will make the difference with Amorim. He seems to be passionate and the players will buy into that. Yes. And in the interview, there was a Sky piece actually where he interviewed one of his colleagues, another coach in Portugal. I can't remember the name. It was on the Amorim and Ten Hag sack and hire video that I did. And Sky did an interview with him, and he said the qualities and why Amorim was so impressive in many of the media's eyes and in the football world, and why he was so successful in his first 2 seasons as a manager, was his approach, his one-on-one approach, his man management. The one-on-one with him, whether it be with the media, whether it be with a player, it could be anyone in walk out. You believed in what he was saying. That's what came out of this interview with this Portuguese coach who's worked alongside him. He says, that's where he gets you. It's his one-on-one. It's simple instruction, easy to follow, and passion and belief behind it. That's what Ruben Amorim is. It is easy to understand what he wants you to do. He makes you believe in what you want, what he wants you to do. And he will make sure that he develops or gets the best players to actually put that in practice. That's what Amorim is. That's what he will bring to Manchester United. I believe there are a ton of players out there that in that Manchester United squad that can actually get better under Amorim as well. I think it is vital right now that these players buy into this because for their sake, it's their last chance. And that's what I meant by Ineos backing Amorim before. If they don't, then Ineos, I've got no ties, I don't feel, to these players. They will sell. No problem at all. They just got rid of Scott McTominay, for God's sake. They just flirted to Alex Ferguson from his job. They have no issue at all in getting rid of players or staff that have been at the club for a long. There's no sentimental factor with Ineos, is what I'm saying. And that's what this club has needed for a long, long time. We need to get off that page of this is the great Manchester United. No, we're shit. And we need to get back up again. Pardon the French on a Saturday morning for anyone who is underage and listening. It just riles me how we've fallen off. And this is a big bugbear of mine. I just don't accept the standards that have been allowed to continue at Manchester United. I just don't accept it as a United fan. Another super chat in from You Got Raws. Thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate that. Might have missed the boat on Gyökeres already. He's supposed to be upset because he committed to Sporting because of the coach. He might advance leaving in January when United aren't ready to bid. I don't think so. Do you know why? I think he will realise, look, he has gone from Coventry to Sporting. He had a great season last season, and Amorim's seen that in him. He will understand that players and managers move. Yes, it's raw right now, and I believe in what Amorim said. Look, they're going to be unhappy, the fans, the coaches, the staff at Sporting, the players in particular, but time is the greatest healer. He will come around, Gyökeres. I don't think he's going anywhere right now. They're in a very comfortable position in the Champions League. They're top of the league in Portugal. I don't think he's going to go anywhere in January. I think if United wanted someone like Gyökeres, I think they would have already tapped him a bit and just said, look, things happen in football. Do you want to play at the elite level? Do you want to manage at the elite level? You cannot turn opportunities down like this. And I feel like that is what's happening right now. And hopefully we will get to a point where we can actually look at players like Gyökeres and fit them straight into our side. Black Sheep with a super chat says, job was too big for Ten Hag. Rube's personality fits United. Yes, it does. Thank you from Arifa, Richard, and You Got Rose and Black Sheep for them super chats. Really appreciate that, guys. Let's get into some more comments. Pete Marshall in the chat has said, Amorim is adaptable. He has played 4 at the back when needed, is not locked into any one system. He obviously prefers 3 at the back, but is very adaptable. It's very true. There has been times when he has gone 4 at the back when he's not had the right players or he's had injuries, for instance. So that, again, is a big positive in this. Will he revert into the back 3 straight away? Look, he's got 3 centre-backs there that are more than comfortable in a back 3. It's the wing-back issue. Like we spoke with Alice last night, she made a good point about Harry Amaris being the great profile for one of the wing-backs. I disagreed with her on Dalot. I think Dalot can be a wing-back, personally. I think he is one player that will learn a lot. I think will get even better under Amorim. I like Dalot. I mean, you could have Amaris and you could have Dalot. What happens with Mazraoui? I think Mazraoui can be one of the centre-backs. I'm not lying with that either. I think he can be the right-hand-sided centre-back when needed. He's cover. I think he can cover I don't see him as a wing-back. I don't. He gets forward, but wing-back, I don't know. Am I jumping the gun? I don't know. Alice did make a great comment last night about Alphonso Davies. He is the perfect profile. But unfortunately, I think Real Madrid have got that tied up. But if Ineos pulled that one off, I would absolutely just bow down at their feet and say, oh my God, like, where have you been all my life as a United fan? That's where I would be with Ineos. If they went and got Alphonso Davies from under the noses of Real Madrid, I would be like, jeez. If you are not impressed with that as a United fan, then I've got to seriously question where you're actually at right now. That would be amazing. That is the perfect player to play as a wing-back. And he's going on a free this summer. He's at the perfect age. And he's just, that's the dream transfer. And it's not going to cost you nothing. But he's going to go Real Madrid. I hate to say it. You would, like, if you could bring anyone in, if there was one transfer to make that is going to change our summer, Alphonso Davies from under the noses of Florentino Perez and Real Madrid would be gold. Absolute gold. I just don't see it happening, no. Madrid have been working on this, according to reports, for 2 years now. This is what Madrid do. They tap them up. They get into the players at a certain time of their contract and make it clear that they want them for this part of their future. And you know what? There's a way around that. There is something in that from what Madrid are doing there. So, yeah, I am not convinced that is going to happen. But if you were to give me a player right now to fit Amorim's system, Alphonso Davies for a free, God, yes, please. Proton says 3-4-3 is so adaptable, more attacking when on the ball and more defensive back five when off the ball. It is adaptable. He plays a 3-5-2, he plays a 3-4-3. He has played the 4-2-3-1 as well. Let's not forget that. That's what we were talking about last night as well. He is very adaptable, but the same rules within them formations as in the style of play and how he wants the players to approach certain attacks and phases of play, they're all in there as well, and they don't change. No matter what the formation is, he will always play out from the back deep. The players line up basically deeper than the 6-yard box. There are 3 of them across with the goalkeeper. One centre-back then comes in and carries the ball out and moves into midfield. Agate will always sit in and help that centre-back out by covering him as he goes forward with the ball. If teams sit deep, then that turns into an extra man in midfield and more options there, and it pushes and pressures the opposition backwards. So if you want to sit deep, the centre-back comes into midfield and they have an extra man in midfield. If you want to press, that centre-back pushes forward. They bypass the press. Agate fills in for any mistakes that centre-back might make. It is a system that has proven and works, and it changes. It changes from player to player, and this is how he gets the rewards for his systems and his philosophy, by getting into the players for like what we just said then. He has to convince them that they can play this game because it's brave. It's very, very brave in the way that he plays, and they have to be fully understanding of it and confident in playing it. And I think that's the man management side and the one-to-one that his former colleague said in Portugal in the Sky interview. That's the difference. That's why his system will work. I say it will work. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm bigging it and giving it the big one, obviously, but I cannot see how it doesn't work for United. Not to a point where we're winning the league in 2 years. No. I expect improvement in the players, in commitment and understanding of what's needed. I think he will bring that. I think the system starts to really come in possibly towards the back end of the season, maybe fully into next season. Look, he's got none of his players. There are players that he would use. Obviously, we've seen Agate. He knows the system. We've got a lot of the Portuguese, South American-speaking players within this squad. Martinez, I don't think, is going to have an issue with it. He's used to playing at 3 at the back. He's fantastic. I think Dalot and Bruno Fernandes, I'm not just saying this because of the language being the same, but I think they're adaptable. I'm really intrigued to see what he does with Bruno. I cannot wait to see if he can harness Bruno Fernandes and just chill him the F down and just get the best out of him, because someone out there will definitely make the most of Bruno. I just hope that it is Ruben Amorim. But if you watched the video last night with Alice, like, we were trying to fit our players in to Ruben Amorim's side of what we've got now at United this season. And I actually do believe if it is going to be a 3-4-3 at United at any point this season, then it's Kobbie Mainoo and Manuel Ugarte in the middle. And then you've got your 2 wing-backs who you pick and choose between. I don't know who comes in. Your 3 centre-backs are obvious. And your forwards, I feel, it's going to be a tough one for him, because I think he's going to utilise Ahmad. I feel like Garnacho, I think the players are going to have to perform, because I think he's going to rotate it to a point where if you're doing it, you're doing it. If you're not, then you're out. It's going to be really intriguing to see what he works with that front 4 now. And the 4 I mean are obviously Ahmad, Garnacho, Højlund and Rashford. Xerxes, I don't know where he fits in right now. Bruno, I'm not sure. Bruno would like to play further forward, and he could be one of that front 3. He could be a player that plays just behind Højlund as well as the shadow striker. You don't know how he's going to do it, but someone is going to miss out, and let's see how he handles that. That's another one that United fans will be waiting to see a reaction from, I feel. Ridwan says he might be cheaper than Højlund, which is insane. Perfect age of 26, age prime, and he's been in form for a few years now. Gyökeres at multiple clubs. He is an excellent striker. Very, very good striker. Again, we just don't know, do we? He is better than Højlund right now, you would say. He scores more goals. Simple. You can say that Højlund's in a difficult league, yes, but still at the same stage, Gyökeres is doing it more than what Højlund was doing it, say, for when he was at Atalanta. Yes, Højlund is 4 years younger. So we've got that as well. Højlund can improve and get to the levels of where Gyökeres, who is 26 now, he can get there. More comments. Babs is in the house. Morning, Babs. Maybe the players that finally have someone they respect and play for. Maybe. Gehan also says, I think this will be the end of Bruno. That's not a bad thing. Age is against Bruno. We need a young team to play this system. We also need money. Selling Bruno would solve that problem. That's where he goes, isn't it? I do believe it is more of an age thing rather than Ruben Amorim coming in and saying Bruno's not good enough. I think someone will get the best out of Bruno for the next 2 years, and I hope it's Amorim at United. What we will get for Bruno in 2 years' time, money-wise, not a lot probably. 20, 30 million max when he's like 31. Maybe just 20 million. You know what I mean? You've just got to look at it and say, Bruno's a good player. He's a great player on his day. And Amorim might be able to get more out of him. It's all if, buts and maybes right now, I know, in terms of who might actually flourish and who might not. But the positives in all of it is you've got a man with a mission. You've got a man who has proven players believe in at his clubs. You've got people talking about him in a tone of like the complete understanding factor, how you cannot not understand what he wants you to do. It is clear message and an easy direction to follow, and he makes players believe in themselves. And we've got not a backroom staff, but an hierarchy and a structure that need to back him, which is why it's going to be different as well this time. Tom with a gifted membership. Thank you, Tom. That's gone to Reveal Burns. And that is everything all done, everybody. I'm going to pin up the Alice video right there and subscribe as well. As that's on your screen right now, FUTV. Thank you to everybody, all the donations, everyone in the chat. Mods and members did a great job this morning. The comment section was absolutely banging. Cheers, everybody. Don't forget, tune in at 11